Hello my viewers, welcome back to the channel. By the video title, you know what this video is about. The season is over for the Steelers. Not for me though, because I have to do some coverage still on the NFL games, the other games, and also NBA, and I might add MMA in it too a little bit. I might just start doing some more like some MMA and boxing stuff. Not every time, but maybe here and there for some big fights and matchups. I was thinking about adding that. But the season for the Steelers is over. The Steelers suffered a defeat to the Buffalo Bills, 31-17 in the wild card round of the playoffs. And they had opportunity in the game a few times. You know, the Bills scored 21 points in the first half, which was crazy. They scored 21 points in the first half, and then the Steelers they scored 10 points. They tried to get themselves back in the game. Bills took a field goal, made it 24-10. Steelers scored a touchdown, made it 17-24. Had opportunity. They got to stop to make something happen. The Steelers went out there and just got walked down. You see number 10 just juked himself, stayed on his feet after the missed tackle by Minka and juked himself and got in the end zone, and that was kind of the game right there. But I feel like the Steelers season has been up and down, been like a roller coaster ride, going up and down, like a little circus. There's been a lot of mayhem, a lot of craziness going on this season. But overall, I think it's a good season. You know, all the injuries we have faced throughout all adversities and all the quarterback woes and problems, to still come out 10-7, 5-1 in your division, and make the playoffs. Of course, you got jacked up in the playoffs, but make the playoffs with all that stuff happening is still a sign of that you can go out there and grit it out. You can go out there and tough it out as well. But I think we have to make some changes, though, of course. Make some changes, and a lot of changes are coming. You know, Coach Tomlin, Mr. Omar Khan, the Rooneys, they're going to make a lot of decisions. There'll be a lot of big decisions made over the next few weeks and the next few months to see where this team goes. But if we break it down from a different standpoint, our team started off the season bad. You know, the first game of the season getting blown out by the 49ers. We had a lot of implications, a lot of hope coming into this season. We had a lot of hype around this season. You know, in the preseason, we were like, okay, there we go. We finally seen the offense click. Of course, I know it's just preseason, but the offense is finally clicking and finally going. But then, as you guys know, for some of the first early games, you just see like it just feel like they was not ready and not prepared and stuff. Too, and it was mostly bad quarterback plays. The offensive play calling was not the same. Bad quarterback play as well. Kenny Pickett throwing 2 interceptions in the first game, threw an interception against the Browns as well. We won that Browns game one though, but it started the season off a little shaky and a little bad. And then we got to a point where we got on a little streak. We started winning some games. We've seen us beat the Titans, beat the Packers. We beat the Browns. We beat the Ravens in one of those games as well too. And a lot of different things was happening. Like, okay, we have a few blowout bad games against the 49ers, of course, and against the Texans. That was the game I was there in person, and we got blown out. We didn't score a touchdown in that game, and the Steelers got to a point where they were 7-4. I was like, okay, 7-4. Then we came off a loss. So we was like 6-3, and then we lost to the Browns, who was 6-4, and then we won against the Bengals, who was 7-4. I was like, okay, there we go. And we had a stretch of games where it was like Cardinals, Patriots, and Colts. I was like, okay, this stretch of game right here, we could see ourselves at least going 2-1. I said we should win all 3 of them, but at least going 2-1 in that period, and kind of like getting ourselves solidifying a spot in the playoffs. Maybe and staying in par with our division rivals as well, the Ravens and stuff, because we could have won a few of those games. Could have been playing for the division at the end of the season. We played them last game of the year. The Steelers lost 3 straight games. They lost to the Cardinals. It was 24-10, I believe. I think it was 24-10 or 27-10 or something around that number. The Steelers went out there and just got beat down. There was a lot of delays that happened in the game because of the thunder that was going on. You seen Kenny Pickett was in the game early on, and then he wasn't playing the best early on. And I think he was also coming off of a game where he able to make some plays down the field a little bit. I think he hit that big 400-yard of offense game. Only scored 16 points, but he had 400 yards of offense to make some plays, but we just wasn't able to get the ball in the end zone on the early drives. And remember, he rushed for one and hurt his ankle on one of those plays, and then you just see a delay happen, and then Mr. Trubisky came in and he threw some picks in that game, and the game was over. And then we also seen another opportunity to bounce back against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football, and the Steelers allowed 21 points to the Patriots in the first half, but in the second half they shut the Patriots out. But the offense only put up 18 points and couldn't muster enough. 4th and 2, you see that horrible play where Mr. Trubisky went deep down the field to, I believe, Deontay Johnson on 4th and 2, and was incomplete, and the Steelers lost that game and was 2 straight. And then we were like, okay, you're playing against the Colts. Let's see if we can get it done. The Steelers started off 13-0 against the Colts, and then we seen Mr. Trubisky made a crazy decision. He went out there and threw a deep ball down the field, got picked off, and that was a spark to kind of get the Colts back into it. The Colts have scored. They scored I think a touchdown. It was 13-7. The Steelers was driving down the field. They could at least still play their game conservative a little bit. It was in field goal range. Mr. Trubisky decided to throw the ball down the field, got picked off, and the Colts went on a streak and they won that game. I think 31 to it was 33-13 or something. It was a blowout though. And then we finally seen the switch. And we seen Coach Tomlin said we're gonna switch and put in Mason Rudolph after seeing Mr. Trubisky basically for 2 games. So the first game he just came in because Kenny was hurt, so we gave him an opportunity to show himself that first game against the Patriots, and he played bad. And then we had an opportunity a little bit in the Colts game, and they benched him within the fourth quarter. And then Mason Rudolph came out there and was throwing the ball amazing, played amazing against the Bengals in that game. The Steelers won that game, and then you see the game after when he played against the who was it, the Seahawks, right? I think the Seahawks, yeah, won that game. We put 30-plus points in that game as well. Then against the Ravens, last game of the season, you win that game and get yourself opportunity for the playoffs. Won that game, played pretty good. And even in the playoffs, Mason Rudolph played good in this Bills game. Like, you look at his numbers, he kept us in the game. Like, he played good. At one point, it was only down. It was 17-24. We had a 7-point deficit, and we could have came back from that, but the defense just couldn't hold up their end of the bargain a little bit, and we've seen some mishaps happen. And also, of course, Mason Rudolph did turn the ball over in the end zone one time, but overall, I think he did a good job filling in for those 4 games, but it's just not enough. I thought the Steelers need to go out there and get them a guy. But before I get into the quarterback stuff and the other pieces around the team, our playoff woes continue a little bit, and I think the Patriots AFC Championship game that we had that was back in 2016-17 season. We had that. We lost to the Patriots, got blown out. When Chris Hogan had the little flea flicker touchdown. Jaguars division game. We got jacked up in that game. Now we kept getting close, but the Jaguars started off real hot against us. We started coming back a little bit, and we lost by 3 points in the end. But you watch the game, they had control of the entire game basically. Browns wild card game. We started off bad. Big Ben threw 3 interceptions in the first half. The Chiefs wild card game. On the defense playing good. TJ Watt scored the first touchdown. The fumble recovery return. Had Mahomes threw an interception as well. When TJ Watt had the deflection, but the offense wasn't enough to go out there to help us win that game. Then against the Bills, similar stuff. This time it was more the defense a little bit too, but the offense started off bad and shaky, turning the ball over in your own territory. We've seen the fumble by George Pickens. We've seen the interception in the end zone. He can get some points on the board by Mason Rudolph. So we've seen those kind of come back to bite us a little bit. And you see those playoff woes, there's just a lot of mistakes happening. And most of those games, now, besides the Patriots AFC Championship game and the Jaguars divisional ones, those are the ones we was favored in. Like, look at the Patriots AFC Championship game. That right there, I feel like we had a better chance of winning that. But, Le'Veon Bell went down with the injury and stuff. And then the Jaguars divisional one, that was the last. That was our Super Bowl window kind of closing a little bit. The Browns wild card one, we should have won that one. We hosted the Browns in that game, and we just played horrible. Quarterback play was horrible. Chiefs won, same thing. Bills won. The quarterback play wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't enough to get it done. I feel like the team has kind of been stuck in that middle of the boat, middle of the pack type stuff, and you try to do too much, kind of to overachieve the quarterback position because the quarterback play has not been good. Of course, we know the defense made some mistakes and made some mishaps, but I feel like when you have that guy, that franchise quarterback, that guy who is the guy, then you can just go out there and just, you can lean on him. You can lean on the guy. When we had Big Ben at his peak, not him the past few years when he was kind of deteriorating a little bit. When we had him at his peak, we were able to lean on him. He made some plays for us, and we've seen the big plays he made to get us in the Super Bowl, to win 2 Super Bowls, to get us to 3 Super Bowls. You see Peyton Manning, they leaned on him. Tom Brady, they leaned on him when everything around wasn't perfect. We've seen all these different quarterbacks throughout history. People lean on them like that because they know that those are the guys. For these guys out here, we hope these guys play well, like Mason Rudolph, Mr. Trubisky, Kenny Pickett. We hoping these guys play well. And then when you have that number one guy, that franchise guy, you like, hey, I don't need the hope. I know he's going to play well. When you have a C.J. Stroud, the Texans have, you see a lot of things change. And a lot of teams are kind of similar to that point. You look at the Steelers, look at the Raiders, the Falcons, the Broncos. A lot of those teams have a big-time roster around them, but they just don't have the one position that matters the most in football, and that's the quarterback position. Now, the Steelers find themselves winning, getting to the playoffs and having a winning season because they just have that culture built in them and that leadership of Coach Tomlin and all those guys. But other teams you see like around, they had a quarterback in those plots. They'd probably be a team contending for the championships every year. And you see how the Texans had C.J. Stroud, they picked on him, And then D'Amico Ryan's having a defensive-minded coach too as well to build the defense up with the young quarterback playing like that. And you see how the success happened. You seeing like you need that guy, you need that quarterback guy, that franchise guy to go out there to get it done. And a lot of teams don't have it, and we're one of the teams that don't have it. And the only reason we keep winning and stuff is because we just have that culture built into us that we're gonna go out there and fight every fiber of our beings, and they're gonna and Coach Tomlin bring the best out of his players. But I feel like Coach Tomlin, of course, he gets some blame too as well because the coordinators have not been as good to help develop some of these quarterbacks. I know some of these quarterbacks are not the best quarterbacks, but the coordinators, the coordinator at least was real good. You know, at least you can see some potential brought out of them a little bit to at least get them to their peak form. But I feel like us trying to stay in house and trying to sign our friends and buddies and stuff, trying to bring them up instead of going out there and getting some young offensive gurus like some other teams have around the league. We're going to kind of keep ourselves in the same boat as well. And I hope the Steelers don't just crush themselves with just saying we roll with Kenny Pickett next year. I hope they actually evaluate and go through all the options that are necessary and all the options that are available too as well, so we can see what's the best option to go for the quarterback position. In my opinion, you look at the quarterbacks that are out there. You look at guys like if you want a guy who is young, who can help you win now, but also help you win in the future too as well. You can build around for a franchise for a long time. You can go out there and maybe say, I'll make a big time trade. I don't know if Justin Herbert is available for trade or not, but you never know what could happen. I don't think Justin Fields might be available if you come with the right asking price and the right amount. I know the Bears said they wanted to keep him around and stuff, but you never know. If you come around with that right asking price, you might say, hey, I give you this and give you that for Justin Fields. Or do you draft a guy from Washington, Michael Penix Jr. will fit perfectly with the Steelers. Strong arm, he has accuracy. He's mobility as well, but he does have problems with injury concerns a little bit. He get banged up a lot, so maybe that's the option. Or maybe you go with a guy who's maybe not not elite quarterback, but they're still very good. Like they're way better than what you have. A guy like Russell Wilson, a guy like Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins would be a nice addition as well. A guy who can make some big plays. They might not be elite level, but if you build the right team around them, you can have a chance. Dak Prescott might be walking from the Cowboys. Maybe you go to a guy like that. So I don't know if the Steelers will look at that approach, or they might just say, hey, we can just run it back with Kenny Pickett with a new offensive coordinator and see if he got it. Because he had Matt Canada 1 year. They fired Matt Canada, and he had the Sullivan and duo offensive interim offensive coordinator. And then next year you'll have another one. So basically 3 offensive coordinators you'll have within 3 years. So we're going to see if that affects them that for the good, or that affect them badly. So we're going to see what happens with that situation right there. But in my opinion, you got to evaluate all your options. You got to see, should we stay with this guy, this quarterback, or should we go out there and see there's a better option for us to get better at the quarterback position to try to get our team to that next level, to try to go over that hump and get ourselves back to winning. Because, of course, we know we can win games, and we can have winning seasons. We can win games and get in the playoffs. We're kind of the Cowboys. The Cowboys can go out there and win the regular season, and they can get to the playoffs, but can they ever get past the hump and get to the NFC Championship game or get to the Super Bowl? Kind of like my Steelers in the same boat for the past 7, 8 years. For the past 8 years, we've been in that boat. Now, there's been a little longer. There's been 29 years, but for us, it's been the past 8 years we've been in that boat. Can we get over that hump? Can we get to the AFC Championship game? Can we get to the Super Bowl again as well like that? So I think the last time we did the AFC Championship game was in 2016, 17-ish. So it's been a while. Been a while since we got there. So hopefully we can find a way to get back to that level. We got to evaluate our options. You look at the middle linebacker position. Inside linebackers, I like Cole Holcomb. He had an ACL tear, but I like him. I think he can come back. I think Landon Roberts as well. Very tough guy. Made some big plays for us this year. And Mark Robinson has stepped up too. He made some plays in the playoff game, and he made some plays, of course, when he had to start and step up too as well. But I thought we need to add some more depth at the middle linebacker position. Of course, Kawhi Alexander was cool, but I think he's a little older and coming off that injury. I don't know if the Steelers going to bring him back, but I feel like the Steelers need to add more depth in the linebacker position through the draft. Get some young guys, some young core you can build around for the future, and some guys who can play coverage. We have the guys who can come in. We have the Landon Roberts. We have the Mark Robinsons. We have the Cole Holcomb who can kind of do both a little bit. Can get some more guys who can play coverage in the middle linebacker position, so you won't be at a deficit when anything happens. And also, you look at some of the stuff like the center. Mason Cole probably be gone next year. Got to get a new center. Dan Moore, I think, might get replaced as well. The O-line as a whole played good. So like I feel like they played good this entire year as a whole. You see Najee Harris over 1,000 yards rushing. Jalen Warren was close to 1,000 as well. I think he was a couple hundreds off. But you look at the 1,000 scrimmage yards for him, 1,000 scrimmage yards for Najee as well. So we have some success in the backfield. And you look at the O-line as a whole, they did a very good job like that, protecting, run blocking, and all types of stuff. So I feel like the O-line is good, but you making add some little few tweaks. You know, get a new center there, replace Dan Moore, and see what happens. What else? The offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. I think the Steelers need to go out there and get a young offensive guru, a guy who's a young offensive guru who you kind of feel like can be your next head coach in the future, kind of groom him up to be your next head coach, and also a guy who can help bring the best out your offense and bring the best scheme out of your players and stuff like that, bring the best potential out of them, I meant to say. But I feel like you go out there and get a guy like a young offensive guru, maybe from college or somewhere, or maybe around the league like that, have a guy available, but probably from college most likely, and see what happens. You see what the Ravens did, getting a guy from college, and he's not a young offensive guru. I don't think he's young. I think he's a little older. But you had a guy from college. Go out there and get a guy who's a little fresh. I ain't saying got to be like a young 20-some-year-old offensive coordinator, but go out there and try to find some new innovative mind to see if it can bring the offense to the next level. Same thing for defense as well. Go out there and get some guys who are going to bring the defense to the next level, pairing with Coach Tomlin and help them out a little bit too. And then a new punter. We got to get a new punter. That's the main thing too as well, a new punter. And that's really how it is. And then you look at the cornerback position, probably add another corner, maybe add another safety as well. I know Corey Trice is a guy who can play safety and corner, but he was out for the season. Maybe add another guy and see how he looks, and maybe he'd be that guy too as well. But I feel like the main concern really is just the quarterback position. If you had a quarterback who was that guy, like that, even if everything else was not the best. We've seen Mahomes, when the defense wasn't the best, they won Super Bowls. We've seen different guys all over be able to like, hey, this right here wasn't the best. Joe Burrow, the offensive line wasn't the best. They got to the Super Bowl still. Got to the AFC Championship game before another year or two as well, even with the offensive line being bad. So I feel like if you go out there and have that franchise quarterback and have that good quarterback, that elite quarterback, even when everything's not perfect, you can still go out there and win and have a chance to win because that guy just takes a lot off your plate. And everybody plate. And with our team being built like the way we are, with the defense and the offense having all these weapons, I feel like you can go out there and just have that. And that kind of like that safety blanket, like we have this guy right here. He can take us home if anything gets rough or tough. But this is all I got for the video today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more content. The Steelers season is over. 2023-2024, they finished 10-7, 5-1 in the division. First round exits in the playoffs. But next year, I think the Steelers make some big changes. We've seen Mr. Omar Khan do a great job in drafting some good players and signing some good players as well that helped us big time this season. I feel like next year we get more reins and more opportunity as well. He will go out there and make some big moves and big changes for this team for the better. So hopefully we see our team on a different scale, maybe winning a division again like that as well, and also getting a home field playoff spot and just being back to the old Steelers. But until then, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I will be doing coverage on the NFL games, the playoff games as well. I'll also be doing basketball coverage. I might bring some MMA and some boxing in there, some Fight Night Fridays, maybe occasionally here and there. But that's all I got for the video today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.